Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of a new series called Punisher Classics. And in this episode, we're going over the first appearance of the Punisher from Amazing Spider-Man 129. Now, the issue itself is written by Jerry Conway, artwork by Russ Audu, and John Romita Jr. does the inking for this issue, and for some reason, Romita Jr. is actually credited as one of the creators of the Punisher, along with Jerry Conway. Now, background on the character of the Punisher. Jerry Conway said in an interview that he wanted to draw sketches of the characters that he wanted to bring into the Amazing Spider-Man comic book when he started the run, and it was Lee who came up with the name the Punisher for despite Lee himself is not credited for creating the Punisher, you can say, yeah, he gave him the name, but yeah. And it was John Romita Jr.'s idea to give him the big, huge skull. So that's really much there. The issue itself is just pretty simple. It just starts off with the Punisher, and yes, I should also mention that this issue is also the first appearance of the Jackal, the guy who happens to start the first and second Clone Saga in the Spider-Man comics. The first one's better, second one is just bad. Apparently, these two are in fact working together for some reason. It's never really explained in the comic why they're working together. Well, they want to take out Spider-Man. But before I continue, some of you probably can ask in the comments, wasn't this cover also homaged by several... Was this cover ever homaged anyway? Like, did anybody try to remake this cover in any of your books? The answer is yes. This cover has been homaged several times over the years. Even by a non-Marvel company, they even published this. Like, yeah. There was even one just last year for issue 1 of Star Wars. They actually homaged this very cover by replacing the Punisher with Boba Fett. And they also homage with the first issue of the Recommender run, where they did it where it was either Norman Osborn in the bullseye or the Sentry for some strange reason. I have no idea why. They even covered this for an issue of Amazing Spider-Girl, issue 4, plus various other covers, and this issue also was even an Easter egg in the Punisher video game. Yes, because there's a car that has the ASM 129. Yep, this very issue. Yeah, the Punisher just shoot in the issue itself. Punisher just shoots some Spider-Man figure, smashes it, and apparently he wants to kill Spider-Man for some reason, and somewhat. There's even a point in the issue where they mention his war on crime, and that's vaguely mentioned in this issue. That's only brought up like one panel. Otherwise, though, he's just treated like a standard villain. That's simply how the issue goes. He fights Spider-Man at least 2 times. First, on a rooftop, which is also the same rooftop where Spider-Man meets the Jackal. What does the Jackal do to him when he first meets Spider-Man? He uses his claw and slashes the back of his mask. Seriously. Later on, the Punisher just throws the guy around in their headquarters. It's never really explained exactly where the heck Jackal got this place. And he just, well, how should I put it? He just turns against the Jackal, and of course, Spider-Man, being a detective, goes back to the place where he fought the Punisher first. And apparently when he threw the Punisher against some chimney, that was where the Jackal was hiding, by the way. He finds one of Punisher's guns, and apparently leads into a gun shop, which later leads him to a rematch with the Punisher. A match they call a draw, and then they fight the Jackal, and he walks away fine. Yeah, there's nothing really much to this issue, but the whole point of this issue is just introduction of the Punisher. Now, Jerry Conway did not anticipate the fact that, yeah, this character became popular, so he brought him back less than a few issues later in Amazing Spider-Man 135. in a two-part appearance, which I'll talk about right now. In order, even though I don't have the picture up here, but it's okay to talk about it because it's his next appearance. Because this issue is just really nothing really much. I mean, yeah, there's some good action, banter, stuff like that, stuff with Mary Jane. But it's a decent issue, and I give the issue a 9 out of 10. It's a classic issue, but it's just there. But the when the Punisher returns in Amazing Spider-Man 135, which is also the first appearance of the character known as Tarantula, who does something really strange. He, when he first shows up, of course, Spider-Man's on a cruise ship in New York Harbor, of all things, so he's not going on an actual cruise, he just, well, tour around the harbor. And the Tarantula just takes the cruise ship hostage. And demands, like, I think it's like about $20 million to exchange for the hostages. Flash Thompson nearly gets thrown overboard until they try and take on the Tarantula's henchmen. Yeah, at this point, Tarantula did have henchmen, 2 of them. So, yeah. And so, Peter puts on his Spider-Man costume, just takes him on, and the issue ends with the Punisher coming back completely out of nowhere. It's never explained how he gets on the ship. And that's how the issue ends. Now, issue 136 is simply, well, them talking for a bit, and after they brief scuffle, Spider-Man goes back to New York, which the boat is still held by the Tarantula for a while. And, well, this is also, 136 is also the first appearance of the Punisher's Battle Wagon. Yes, the vehicle he would use for the next, 20 years or so. Despite the fact this is actually the first battle wagon that he uses. It's basically like a regular van. It's like one of those old vans, which is not exactly decked down technology. The whole point of the van it's his vehicle that he uses, and it's also kind of like his mobile headquarters, and it also is a place where he can store his weapons aside from the many arsenals he keeps across New York City. So Spider-Man somehow sneaking into his van, which Punisher's not surprised he did that, but not all that surprised. And pretty much the Punisher just tells him about the origin about the Tarantula, where he was a revolutionary, and how he basically, killed a bank guard during a robbery. He was kicked out of the revolutionary forces. And it's explained also that apparently he was supposed to be his country's version of Captain America. So he later joined the dictator's army and became the Tarantula, turned against the revolutionary army, stuff like that. He's just a regular mercenary. But it is nice the fact that in this very issue you get some character development for the Punisher. He's more like an anti-hero in 135, 136. And basically, Punisher and Spider-Man team up to take on the Jackal and his henchmen. The Tarantula's henchmen are killed by the Punisher or during the course of the issue. Spider-Man basically puts on a good fight with Tarantula. And the Tarantula has these spike shoes, which she carries seen with him a lot. They're basically, the tips are dipped in poison. So they decided to he just beats them and leaves them for the police, while basically Punisher just leaves the bodies of the Tarantula's henchmen just lying there, and Spider-Man's like, and I'm like, why doesn't Spider-Man say, why did you kill them for? Yeah, that's never brought up in the entire issue of 136. 135, overall, it's a pretty decent issue, but the whole point of 135 is just to bring back the Punisher, because he was proved to be very popular. That's why he was brought back. And 136, it basically gives him some character development, and also the first appearance of his battle wagon. And there's one other thing that makes first appearance in 136. The first appearance of his war journal. Something he would use for a long time. I would say he stopped using it after the end of Punisher Volume 2. Because I've read the rest of the Punisher series, and for some reason he stopped using it. And currently in modern day, he does not really use it at all. And I know there was a series called Punisher War Journal, and yes, he did use the title. He did use the War Journal itself. The whole point of the War Journal, from what I can tell, is just basically recording his exploits of when he basically it's just recording of his exploits of what criminals he took out. It's kind of like a journal in a way. Like I said, it basically the journal is kept. It's kept. Well, it's the 70s, so he used some kind of what looks like a 70s version of a tape recorder to record all of his journal entries, like 300 and something, or continue or something like that. Yeah. Well, the next time he would show up will be sometime later. It took him a little while to come back. He did come back a couple more times. Amazing Spider-Man even appeared in an annual, stuff like that. But that is a thing for another time. Of course, the Punisher, I know everyone knows the Punisher's got ongoing series now. Some of you might ask, why didn't I start with Punisher #1? Why did I start with his first appearance? Why did I start with this issue instead of like, oh, because it's his first appearance? And the other reason why that I decided to talk about also 135, 136, because I reread the issue and there's nothing really much to the issue itself when it relates to Punisher. Even though it's called Amazing Spider-Man, it doesn't focus much on the Punisher at all, and he doesn't do much in the issue itself. He does more in the 135 and 136. So 135. His appearance in the issue was just a cameo, and 136 was basically like a full return for him. It was nice that Gary Conway brought him back. I mean, he'd not been gone that long. He'd been gone maybe, 6 months? Yeah, he came back 6 issues later. Excuse me. Which I do praise him for bringing the character back. The Jackal himself will come back much later on, as pretty much for the toward the end of Gary Conway's legendary run for the book, leading to the Clone Saga. Well, the first one anyways. And the Punisher himself basically proved to be a very popular character, and still is a popular character this very day, written by various different writers and drawn by various different people over the years. There's even a Punisher comic going on right now, launched a couple months ago. It's published on a monthly basis, not twice like some other books. It's 3 issues in, and it's written by Becky Cohen, the first ever female writer to write the character, and it's drawn by Steve Dillon, a regular Punisher artist, one of my personal favorites. The Punisher himself would also join various different teams over the years. Joined teams like the Marvel Knights, even though they never called it in the comic. He joined Code Red, a group of people basically who work with the Red Hulk for a few issues of the series Hulk, all because Domino found out who the Red Hulk was. He joined the Thunderbolts, stuff like that. But the thing is, him joining groups, yeah, that's something new for him as of recently, but he's had weird things happen to him over the years, like him turning into a Frankenstein monster, him becoming a black man. Yeah, that did happen. Let's see, what else? What other weird things has happened to this guy? Oh yeah, he became an avenging angel, which even Quesada basically felt that was a big mistake, so they just retconned that thing out of existence. Yeah, that's the thing about Quesada. He doesn't like Spider-Man's marriage. Like, he'll agree to fix something with the Punisher, but he won't agree to undo one more day. Go figure. But the story itself, when it comes to Punisher, I will do his origin story a little bit later, like probably in episode 3. The next episode, I'm probably just going to do the next few appearances of the Punisher. Because, like I said, when it comes to Amazing Spider-Man 29, there's nothing really much to the Punisher in this issue. You don't learn very much about him at all. I mean, you learn a little bit more about him in 136. But his origin story will be explained later in a couple one-shot issues, which Jerry Connolly himself does write. He does write his origin stories. I'm glad he does do that. But overall, the 135, well, the issue itself was okay, but 136 was a lot better. 136 I give a, 135 and 136 because it's a two-parter. I give them both an 8 out of 10. Pretty decent issues from what they are. And the Punisher himself, in case some of you wondering, no, he doesn't, he has not worn the outfit he's sporting here on the cover. Basically, the look he has right now, I think, well, as far as I know, he, since the Thomas Jane version of Punisher came out, he's been using that look. His current look has only been used the past 12 years, so he's no longer wearing the jumpsuit. He stopped wearing that, if I would take a guess when the last time he actually wore the jumpsuit, I would say probably when Matt Fraction wrote him in the Punisher War Journal run. Yeah, that was probably like the last time he officially wore the jumpsuit. Yeah, the jumpsuit itself, from what I've read about, basically those skull tips that basically the teeth that are part of the skull in his outfit, those carries extra ammunition, and basically the suit itself is supposed to be bulletproof. That's the reason why he's able to survive so many bullets. Nowadays, he just puts on a bulletproof vest and just puts a skull on it, and just that's it when it comes to his outfit. So, yeah. The Punisher himself is an awesome character, but I figured though I wanted to start a retrospective series on the Punisher, and I figured though in the first episode, even though that I plan on doing Amazing Spider-Man 129 to start off with, I figured though I'd throw in his next two appearances from 135 136. He does return for a few more issues of Amazing Spider-Man, like I said, and he does later on get his own solo stuff and his own ongoing series. But suffice it to say, that's really it when it comes to the Punisher for this episode. So, yeah, I'll put in the description basically just Amazing Spider-Man 129 and the other two appearances, like I said. I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm just trying to just extend this for a little bit longer than usual. But Jerry Conway himself, as far as I know, has not written this character since, I'd say the late 70s. But I would not mind it if he came back to write this character again, because the guy is currently writing Carnage right now. So, yep. He basically knew what he was doing when he created the Punisher. I mean, he probably didn't anticipate be a success. He probably just created him just to be a villain for Spider-Man. But he never knew he'd be so popular. He just became an anti-hero over time. So, yeah, that's really much it. Stay tuned whenever I get a chance to episode 2, where I'll cover a few more issues of Amazing Spider-Man, where I will cover more of his early years before he gets his first miniseries in the mid-80s. So, until then, I will see you there. Bye.